I want to put Portland and Minneapolis in context. Whatever may be the circumstances of these individual shootings, just took place in the course of a couple of days. We know that ICE has brought with it tremendous violence and terror to our communities. Renee Good was not the first person shot and killed by ICE. 3 others were shot and killed by ICE. None of them, I don't think had this clear video or was sympathetic U.S. white citizen like Renee Good. But she was the 4th person killed by ICE shootings. And according to those who track these matters, there were some, and this is before Minneapolis or Portland, about a dozen or 13 other ICE shootings, not all of which, of course, most of which did not result in death, but was still ICE-perpetrated violence. And we saw in 1 or 2 cases the ICE agents actually bragging about what they did and looking forward to further action elsewhere, relishing this kind of violence. So what we know for sure is that ICE brings with it violence and terror. Now, they justify this. We've heard this so many times. Well, they're protecting us because they're going after the worst of the worst, right, Sam? These violent killers who, come into your home and slit your throat, right? How many times have we heard that?
Time and time again.
Is it true?
Tell me. Not
even close. Those who follow these things, there have been a number of studies, approximately 70%, 7 out of 10 of those arrested and detained by ICE had no criminal convictions. I repeat, no criminal convictions. And the rest of them, most of them only had convictions for minor offenses like traffic violations. A tiny percentage of those arrested and detained by ICE were actually dangerous criminals. So they're bringing this violence, the destruction, this terror on our communities without, essentially lying about the way in which they're making our communities safe by going after the worst of the worst, which is absolutely contradicted by the facts. Moreover, there have been a number of studies by the Cato Institute, not a liberal group, by the National Institute of Justice, clearly demonstrating that undocumented immigrants commit crime, including violent crime, at a much lower rate than native-born Americans. Even generally, immigrants commit crimes and violent crimes at lower rates. There's an obvious reason for this, Sam, right? They don't want to get involved in the criminal justice system. So this whole idea of these dangerous migrants, A, is not true, and B, even if there was some truth to that, that's not who they're going after. That's not who they're rounding up, and yet they are foisting this incredible terror and violence on our communities. As I said when we had our special the other night, Sam, that could have been anyone sitting in that car. That could have been you. That could have been me. And as I said, from the president on down, they have grossly lied about the situation. Donald Trump said that Good was acting very disorderly. He accused her of violently, willfully, and viciously running over the ICE officer. And he said, quote, "Based on the attached clip, it is hard to believe he is alive." What did we see immediately after the shooting of the shooter?
I'm not sure what you're referring to. Just tell us.
Did he look injured and wounded at death's door? No. He was walking without a limp, without a slight sign of blood, without any sign of pain, and by the way, no sign of remorse whatsoever. There wasn't the slightest indication that this guy was injured in any way, shape, or form, nor do we get a hospital report saying that this guy had sustained any kind of injuries. And yet the President of the United States lies to us, telling us it's hard to believe he is alive. And of course, accusing her without any evidence of being violent, willful, and malicious and vicious. And then we have Kristi Noem, and I'm not even going to go into all the lies that she spouted, but she accused this woman, this mother of three, this 37-year-old U.S. citizen, of being what, Sam? What does she accuse her of?
A domestic terrorist.
A domestic terrorist, without a slightest basis for that. And then J.D. Vance, again, this is a typical MO of the Trump administration. Do they ever take accountability for anything?
No.
It's always someone else's fault. And they are expert at dehumanizing, degrading anyone who might embarrass them, like Ms. Good. So Vance says, you can accept that this woman's death is a tragedy, again, depersonalizing her, while acknowledging it's a tragedy of her own making.
Oh, give me a break, dude.
Unbelievable. But he goes on. They're not only defending what the officer did, as they always do, they go on the defensive and use this as an excuse for blaming their political opposition. But Vance goes on to say, this is a tragedy that falls on this woman and all of the radicals who teach people that immigrant is the one type of law that the rioters are allowed to interfere with. Do you know anyone who teaches that, Sam?
No.
No.
He's the extremist. Trump is the extremist.
Exactly. And what ICE is doing is the extremist. And it's not just ICE. Look at the whole context. Death and destruction has surrounded the Trump administration. Thanks for watching our video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and become a member today.